Hey, everybody. Let's go ahead and unmute yourself. Type in any questions. Go ahead, fire away.
All right, and I just got the mic on our end, so go ahead, Linda, then Deborah.
Mhm.
Hey, Linda.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Sam. Nice to be here.
Hey, good to see you.
Thank you. All right. I'm curious tonight about working with the chants when we're doing blessings for people. So when we're blessing people below their
Mhm.
feet,
Mhm.
I know that in some cases we use Om Mani Padme Hum. But
Sure.
for instance, I'm working with somebody right now who's dealing with an infection and he's got to take antibiotics. And I'd like to be able to give some blessings to him. I'm cleaning the medication and stuff. But would 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 Om Tare Tu Tare be a good one to do in that case? Or is
You
there
could
one
do
that's
that. You know what I would use for that? Um, so the Kabbalistic, there's like an aspect of God
Mm,
that is tied to the transmuting elements. And so like, you see like on the YHVH, that's like the code for that, but
uh-huh.
it's yod, like YOD,
Mm-hmm.
and then like it looks like he, but it's he,
Okay. Uh-huh.
and then ba, BAU,
Okay.
and then he again,
Okay.
and like chant that like a mantra.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the idea being like in between the, like you would go yod he, and then you can add the holy name for the heart,
Mm,
which is EL, so L. So go Yoche El Vache.
okay. Got it.
And the idea being that uh like the yod transmutes fire, the first He water, the Va transmutes air, and the last transmutes earth. And then the EL in the middle
Mm-hmm.
transmutes aether.
Mm-hmm.
So it transmutes the five elements.
Okay.
And so when you're dealing with, like, even like when I do bardos for people, like, so even like after they've passed or they're about to pass, I still do the bardo, but I actually will chant that name over and over and over again. And it just helps accelerate the process. It helps them physically, psychologically. If they've already left the body, it helps them to take off in the inner world. Because like part of our development is, if we set aside like the normal like psychological things or whatever, but if we look at it from a mystical or energetic point of view, one of the aspects is the transmutation of the elements. And the more that the elements are transmuted, like your physiology works better, but it also has a very big impact on the mental body, like on the mind. And it's part of like when our crown is activated, part of what is activating the crown is the transmutation of elements. And so by going through and doing this, you're stimulating a healing process that, be it that you're working with energy or prayer or oils or plants or stones or whatever, it could always be augmented into what you're doing for that process.
Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah,
Great. And one more quick question from our mystical healing group.
sure.
Um, in the kit, the Foundations of Mystical Healing, there were two tonics, the Mingmen tonic and the Violet Healer tonic.
Mhm.
And last week we all looked at each other and said, how do we use these again?
So like I would just slap them on to areas. Both are like different versions of raising the vibration in the body. And so the violet healer, like violet by its nature, reduces like overly sympathetic nervous system activity and helps the body like relax and go into rest and repair. And to a certain extent, it raises the vibration or the function of the body. And so the impact of stress related like aggravations of conditions are diminished when you use the like anything that has a lot of violet in it. And then the Ming Men body tonic, just the Ming Men by its nature also transmutes and raises the vibration of the body. And so I just thought it was like some fun things for people to play with. You know, the violet healer, I would say a little bit more meditation or psychological healing oriented, where the Ming Men would be a little bit more for the transmuting the physical body. But yeah, both are kind of a way to raise the vibration of the body, clean up the body a little bit. So you could put it on aches or pains or areas that you have an issue with, or you could just put it on like the torso or like your feet or something, just to work it energetically.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so
That'd be
much.
so cool.
And then go ahead, Deborah, then Barbara.
Hey, Deborah.
Hey, Greg. Hey,
Hey, how
Sam.
are you? How are you?
I'm actually moving along with all this stuff
Good,
I'm
good.
trying to heal. What I've come to the conclusion is that I need to be patient, that there's like some major life, you probably already know this since you've looked at it, but I'm coming to the realization that all of that impact around my thyroid and parathyroid are like major lifetime events that are,
Right, sure. Yeah.
and so that I need to have slow down my expectations of how my body can heal and integrate the changes. Would that
Yeah,
be true?
I was just having that conversation with somebody else the other day, like a day or two ago. And it's like some things your body responds to very quickly, and then there's some things that it's quite slow. And then, we go through stages of life where like things don't respond quite like they used to. And I would say things with the glands are one of the harder things to like address, just because the glands shift and change very slowly. Like they don't do anything quickly, like nothing. And so, even when it's like a positive upgrade, it doesn't really do it, but they also didn't degenerate slower than other things because of that as well. And so like you said, you have time, and it's especially with the glands, you're just, it's a lot of consistent work, just lots of little movements over a period of time. Yeah.
Because I actually, sometimes I feel major shifts
Mhm.
that are just shoot a lot of emotion through me. And that in itself can put me down for a few days.
Oh, sure.
Not even,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
So I feel like, and then I think it's a few days, but then I find myself like these crazy images and memories come up, which I'm concluding now that it's all related, and that the more time, like I can only do so much,
Mhm,
and,
mhm,
needing to find joy in life, right? So,
mhm.
but still be able to continue to heal, and so I'm trying to find a pace for that and acceptance, like being more forgiving about
Mhm,
the whole thing, but
mhm,
still being positive that this will heal.
mhm.
Um, it's a real dance that I'm trying to do here.
How are
uh,
things going with the thyroid at this point right now?
so um, there there's a lot of improvement, and the I haven't the medication I'm on has been really steady. I haven't upped it, and I'm
Okay,
still seeing lots of improvement. My goal is to come off of the medication,
sure.
but I'm following your protocol with the clove oil and then changing up my diet, and I'm doing a lot of sound healing
Mhm.
with tuning forks.
Mhm.
And I also am doing you had mentioned using, and took note when you were just talking about the Meng Men,
Mhm.
um, with gold in the Memnang and
Sure.
my throat. And I found interesting this morning, the first time I noticed this, when I applied gold to my throat area, I felt
Mhm.
constriction. And
Mm.
that's what sort of like reinforced that maybe my throat was telling me, "N- slow down."
So when you say constriction, like it was hard to swallow, or your neck tightened up, or
My neck, I can feel, I feel a lot really throughout my body, easily. And
Mhm.
so I can feel when there is tightness in my thyroid,
okay.
and I
So, but it's not
felt
so much the
easily.
skeletal muscle, and it wasn't like hard to swallow. You just felt it in the
No.
thyroid itself.
Yeah, I just, and my voice comes and goes. That's real visible, but this was like immediate. As soon as I was working with the gold, it was like instant that I felt this kind of like pushback from my thyroid. Is that weird? Am I imagining too much? Good. It just sounded,
I'm trying to figure out what that might be. Do you have heartburn?
what did you say?
Do you have heartburn?
Heartburn? No. Mm-mm. Although I do have this pain that comes and goes in my abdomen that I've mentioned to you before, that's on the left side. But I wasn't feeling that.
Okay. Hmm.
And I went to have that light touch work done on the meridians
Mhm.
around
Mhm.
the hip and the parathyroid. And he worked on the mandible
Mhm.
gland.
Mhm.
Um, and I felt a huge release of energy.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would still just kind of keep pushing forward with the things that you're doing. Like you said, it's like kind of a long, slow roll. I mean, if you wanted to augment anything, um, I mean, you can use something like frankincense and myrrh that like jump starts like all the functions of the glands.
Mhm.
But like you might want to think of, I mean, lemon verbena is a very good like toning oil for all the glands. Like, it helps with regulation. But angelica seed, um, more so than angelica root, but angelica seed is very good for like cleaning up the communication amongst the endocrine system. It's like it will also help the endocrine system, like if it's depleted. I mean, yours is looking better than it did. Like it's, you're improving, um, but it's still a little bit depleted. But just over a period of time, it will probably bounce back. But if you wanted to accelerate that, angelica seed would be the thing, and it would need to be a couple drops, like you're doing the clove internally. It would have to be a couple drops internally.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you would see that as going, that it might
Like
go
if you
on
wanted
for.
to augment, I honestly,
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty okay with you just sticking where you're at.
Mhm.
But like if you wanted to like try to step up the pace a little bit, that's probably how I would step up the pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will put a hold on that while I'm about to
Yeah.
travel,
Yeah.
but I've noted it.
Honestly, as long as you're making improvement, I don't know that you need to do anything different. Like it is going to be something that takes time, but sometimes we want it faster, or sometimes there might be more of a demand or something like that. I think you're on a pretty solid path. Like so, you know, until we see that results aren't happening, I wouldn't really worry about changing it up too much. But like if I was to like step up the game, that's what I would do. Like, but I mean, if I thought it was that critical, I would have told you that right off the bat,
Okay.
you know. Yeah.
And then one other question around this
Mhm.
is, the last time I talked, you mentioned because things were getting stuck in my, when I was releasing stuff, they were getting stuck. I don't know at which level, or I don't want to use the wrong
Mhm.
language.
Mhm.
And you had mentioned astral projection was the good oil for that, but
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've been traveling, and so it's hard to do the timing to get that. And is there something that's like a single oil that I would probably have?
Ginger lily. Do you have ginger lily?
I lost it when I was hiking.
Um, uh, St. John's wort, maybe?
Yeah, I think I might have that.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
inhale the St. John's wort.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll have you guys send something to a hotel. And
Yeah,
that
we
would
could do that. Like,
okay.
just give us a heads up of like the time that you're checking, you know, when you're checking out, so we can make sure we get it to you, you know, in the right time frame.
Yeah. Okay, no worries there. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Where are you going? I forget.
I'm going to explore the Blue Ridge. I'm looking
Oh,
to
nice.
find a
Yeah,
place.
beautiful place. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite up there that you recommend?
We like that whole mountain range. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that we have a favorite, like all those different spots. They're just, we like it all. Yeah.
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 It's a treasure.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
And then go ahead, Barbara, then Rebecca.
Hey, Miss River.
Hey
Miss
there.
Barbara. I almost called you most Rebarbara, Rebecca and Barbara combined. Hey. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It was a great class this weekend.
Oh, good. I'm
Um,
glad you enjoyed it.
My question is on behalf of somebody new that I spoke with yesterday who
Mhm.
talked about feeling incredibly open and very sensitive to energy in the environment to the point where her body felt like the energy was moving at a pace she imagined other people could actually see it. And she wondered, she hasn't done any of your classes, but she's curious, and she wondered if there was an oil you would recommend or class you would recommend. And
So she's feeling very sensitive and
she said her
energy's moving, like everything's moving a little fast or a little too fast or
yes, and she finds she wants to pull away from it, and she says sometimes she'll find herself talking at someone just to try to push their energy away and not have it come into her, including her husband. I'm guessing she's probably late 70s. She didn't mention any other health issues,
so
but
I would say a couple of things. Like so one, like when people feel like overly sensitive, like sometimes, you know how like when you feel really open, the body does get sensitive and it's like really kind of easy to take on just any sort of little negative, like little stimuli in the environment.
right. And I don't know that she said specifically negative, just
Okay, she just felt sensitive,
yeah.
right? So if it's like negativity, I would say hyssop or chakra root cleanser, right? Just sensitivity, you could probably get away with using sage, sage inhaled, sage a little bit topically, like on the wrist or a body tonic. That's probably your best bet. You know, the thing with it is it strengthens the body and it does act as like a little bit of a protective, you know, has a protective quality to it, but it calms down sensitivity, even sensitivity in the nerves. If she's like super oversensitive, it might even need to be as strong as like cinnamon, like inhaling cinnamon and even maybe a drop or two on water and drinking the cinnamon.
Hmm.
And the thing with the cinnamon is it's still very activating to the heart, the heart chakra, but it reduces, it's like it makes you thick-skinned and a little bit more outward. And so it just makes you kind of it reduces sensitivity quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes the sensitivity can be like sometimes people will say that person's a little more introverted or a little bit more extroverted. We're really both. But sometimes we go through little phases where we turn inward a little bit more. And like the cinnamon, like if we start to turn too excessively inward, the cinnamon kind of balances it out and pushes us back outward a little bit, which reduces the sensitivity. Because anytime you would say sensitive, there's some like more or excessive or like they've just pushed a threshold where they've turned inward. And so
Yeah,
like sometimes they acclimate to it. And
that's what it sounded like. She felt
yeah,
like she was on that path and just
yeah.
was receiving more and
Yeah.
more.
Sage will probably be the thing that works for her. Like just use some like Spanish sage
And
or
so,
yeah, or, so some just real simple sage.
so inhalation and maybe as a body butter.
Inhalation, yeah, and a couple of drops on the wrist, or if she's up to it, like maybe a little body tonic, or she puts like several drops in her hand and with lotion, and then she can just rub it on her torso or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm curious about the cinnamon with her. That hadn't occurred to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't probably do that right off the bat, but like if she's just not responding to anything,
Okay.
there is another approach with that, but it's like sometimes it makes it a little worse before it makes it better. But the stimulation of the blue pearl, which is in the pineal gland, so you would use things that could potentially stimulate that. And the idea would be that as that stimulates, it makes the ajna a little bit more activated and it makes them less sensitive. But it doesn't always happen right off the bat.
Mhm.
And so the good thing is sage kind of activates the blue pearl anyway, but it reduces the sensitivity, where some of the other things you would use might increase sensitivity before the ajna gets activated enough. You know what I mean? So anything, we could start going into like, oh, you could use the ajna blend or, things that are very activating to that area. But I still go back to the sage. It's simple, it's easy, it's not expensive. Like she could go crazy with the Spanish sage and it would be fine.
Yeah. I like the stage for her too, and
Yeah,
maybe this up
yeah,
to
yeah,
alternate.
yeah.
And she's curious about your work and the classes and
Huh?
wanted a suggestion about a class to start with. And
I think that free class, the energetic mechanics of what was it? Energetic mechanics of the nervous system.
I think so.
Yeah, it was like about a year ago or something. I think that's a nice blend of you're dealing with a little bit of the nervous system, you're dealing with energetics, and you're playing with oils, and it's a nice little kind of overview of a few different things, and it would give her a little bit of a taste of things. If she's just into clinical things, there's always the classes that are the free
yeah,
study groups of the clinical
I
things. But
think
if she has a little bit of energy or interest in mysticism or something like that, I think that's a good starter place.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, Rebecca.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hi,
Hey.
thank you for all your help. Actually, I have 3 questions, but the 2, I want to make sure I cover my first 2. So, I have IPF, pulmonary fibrosis, and I
Okay.
have been, I've been doing, since I took the respiratory class, I've been doing the strengthening of my system almost every day. That has made a huge difference.
Oh, good.
And then I started on the Moroccan thyme anti-sclerotic
Perfect.
and,
Okay,
and the,
good.
oh
Yeah.
shoot. Caraway?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
okay.
Caraway. Yeah.
So I had an interesting reaction to the Moroccan thyme,
Okay.
and I worked through it, but if it happens again or to someone else, I want to be able to handle it. So what happened was, I took 2 drops,
Mhm.
and within about 20 minutes, I had incredible sternum pain. And
Hmm.
it didn't feel like heartburn. And the other thing that happened is my hands and feet got like flaming hot. So I'm laying there doing pranic healing on myself and
Mhm.
cleaning my sternum, and then it moved down to my gut. So I worked on my gut, and it eventually calmed down.
Okay.
The next day I dropped down to just 1 drop, and the sternum pain was gone, but real hot hands and feet, and my heart started racing. So I've stayed at 1 drop, and now I'm
Hmm.
having no reactions at all. So I wanted your thoughts about that. And
I'm
if-
not sure what happened there.
Sure.
I mean, the sternum, I mean, that could be, like you said, it could be a little bit of heart function, but it also could be respiratory function.
okay. It feels like after that happened, the
Uh-huh.
healing got more accelerated.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
part
what
of the thing about using the Moroccan thyme is it's very good for the thymus. Even
Mhm.
with immune issues, it's very good for the thymus. It's very regulating.
Okay.
That you're doing 1 drop. I mean, I'd say definitely stay there,
Okay.
but your hands are still getting hot. Your hands and feet are still getting hot.
No, I'm having no symptoms now.
Okay,
That was
no
about
symptom. Let's
about
keep you
5
at
days
just a
ago.
drop. Let's just
Okay.
keep you at a drop. And then, how is the anti-sclerotic
So
stuff
that was my
doing?
other question. Oh, but before I go away from the Moroccan thyme, do I
Sure.
also do sustained inhalation on that?
Because you had the heat, like, I mean, that could have been a thymus reaction, which is interesting. I would say you do either or. Like if you're taking a drop, let's not have you do inhalation. And if you do a bunch of inhalation, let's not have you do a drop.
Okay,
Let's have
got
you
it.
just keep it like in a certain realm for a little while and just see how your body acclimates. I mean, there are times sometimes where you have to kind of build up because of the effects, the shifts that it's having on the body, where you might have to build up to be able to do a bigger dosage over a period of time. I've never had that happen with Moroccan thyme, but I've had that happen with other things. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but
Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
but
And
given the stuff that you were dealing with, it might have just been a little too intense.
yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then the it's a hard word to say, anti-sclerotic.
Right.
It is working well, but my background question is, the first few times I used it, I could only do like 2 sustained inhalations.
Yeah.
Over time, my tolerance has increased,
Mhm.
and I can do 10, and it feels
Okay.
fine. Energetically, is that a good thing that the tolerance is increasing? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and don't push it. Like just like
Okay.
whenever it feels comfortable, and as soon as it starts to feel like it's feeling a little weird, just drop it right there.
Okay.
And so I would keep doing that, and just little by little. It's just kind of even like how we were just talking about the thing with the Moroccan thyme. Just little by little. And as the body shifts and changes, because like sometimes you even have to do that with energy work. Like I remember there was this time I was working with a guy that got into a motorcycle accident, and the first day I worked on him, like 90 seconds. It's all it's because he had a head injury. And then by the third day, it was like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And then by the end of the week, I was working 10, 15 minutes. Another week, it was a
Wow.
whole hour. But at first, the system was too like tweaky. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
his body would react too quickly. And so anytime we're having like a kind of condition that you're dealing with, I'd just say like little movements, just a lot of little movements. And
Okay.
then body feels like it can handle more, then do a little bit more. Yeah,
Okay, great.
that's
Thank
perfect.
you.
I
Okay, and
love
I
that
had,
you've already increased it from 2 to 10. I mean,
yeah,
that's really, really super good.
yeah,
And
and
how is that impacting you? Like, I'm just curious.
honestly, I don't know how it's impacting me, except emotionally, I like it.
Mhm.
I look forward to using it.
Yeah,
That's kind of all I can say about it. And
yeah.
but in general, like I was able to go hiking yesterday. I could, I wasn't coughing a
Good.
whole lot. So
Right.
it's definitely helping. So
Good.
thank you.
Good. Well, keep us posted.
I will. And I
Okay.
had one other really quick
Sure.
question for a client. He has chronic kidney disease, stage 4. He's on dialysis. And I'm wondering, he's still producing urine. I'm wondering whether it would be appropriate to introduce him to celery seed
It
or
might
not,
be a little too
because,
intense. Yeah, it might be a
okay,
little too intense with him being on dialysis. I usually don't use a lot of oils with people on dialysis. You could
okay,
use some herbs, but even then, you know what I like to use, like when people are having like that level of kidney issue, is there's this mushroom called cordyceps,
mm-hmm,
and it's very strengthening to the kidney. And in Chinese medicine, they'll even use it on somebody after they've had a kidney transplant. Like that's how kind of gentle it is.
okay,
And but it's very fortifying to the kidneys. You know, it's good for the kidneys, the heart, and the lungs. And it helps the body process like lactic acid and things like that. And so
okay.
I usually, you could just make it like in a tea. Like
Mm-hmm,
best thing to do is like get it in like a powder, and then like just mix it into a tea and then just have them drink it. Uh,
okay,
the mushrooms are very gentle on the body. They're very gentle on the kidneys, and like it shouldn't complicate anything, and um, not mess with any medications, but also
right.
be kind of like improving his energy levels and just helping with body function and kidney function.
Okay, great.
So
Thank you so much. I
you're
really
so welcome.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Ralph.
Hey, Miss Lolly.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good.
Um, so let's see. Let's start with Linda's question. So blessing and doing the mantra. So if I were to do that, can I use the Dorje for that and
Sure.
pointing
Yeah,
it
yeah.
down to the
Sure, yeah.
earth?
Yeah.
Okay. And then doing that basically after I'm done, like the last step of the healing.
You could do it last or you could do it first. Sometimes I do it
Oh,
at the beginning just to get the juices flowing. You know what I mean? Like get everything moving, and then you get in and do whatever you're gonna do. It makes it a little bit easier. Yeah.
okay. And then either using a mantra or what? Just blessing the, if I'm not using a mantra, what would you do? Like bless the earth or?
Yeah, like if you were like using your Dorje or something and doing that, just think of the person and point the Dorje down. That's all you gotta do.
Oh, and that's it basically.
Yeah,
Okay. And do that like a few times basically, back and forth.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, moving on. So I'm not gonna ask about the 7 rays, but I am gonna ask something about the colors. So, because that connects to the other classes as well. So, what I was thinking about as far as the 7 healers, um, what if I were to use them as a spray, like having 7 sprays for the 7 healers? Would
Mhm.
that be like even when I'm working on somebody, for example, um, let's say the person is not inhaling the oils, and even
Yeah,
if
and
it's
you
like a
spray it on them.
distant.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So basically, if I wanted to do, let's say, the spine, that's going back to the other class a little bit, I can do one after the other.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
you can do it that way. Like you don't have to necessarily spray them all in. Like just hit the greatest hits. Maybe hit it with a little violet or a little green, a little orange, and then let it cook. And depends on how deep you want to go. But yeah.
and basically using the gold is going to help the body produce gold. Same idea as if I were to inhale the
Yeah,
oils.
whichever one you're using, it's helping the body to produce
Yeah.
that color. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's a new set that you guys need.
Yeah.
New products coming up.
Yeah. Well, I think we
Okay,
were
so
kind of
then-
talking. I think we were talking to you, in fact, when I was like, "Why don't we have orange healer spray? Like we should have. That should be like just."
Yeah, which is exactly. So now you have the orange, and then you have the green. But then
Right.
yesterday I didn't order yet. Yesterday I was like, I think you need all 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny.
So okay, so I'm good on that. Thank you. I'm good on that. Okay, so then let's talk about the scrubs for a second. So I've been using the green scrub for a while, been using the lavender. I just ordered the charcoal root cleanser, which I really like. I use them on my body, which is, it's great. And there's different options. What I'm wondering about is when I'm doing that on my hands after doing healing, I'm very used to doing, you use a green scrub afterwards because green energy. Your products are different though, they're deeper, so I have other options. So
for cleaning it up after doing healing, I would use probably either green or orange. Like I mean you could use something as simple as lavender, but even I mean what I used to use all the time was chocolate root cleanser. Like
that's
I mean that was kind of my workhorse for stuff
so
like
no,
yeah.
Okay, so my question is not, I'm actually, so that's what I wanted to know, if you would use any of the 7
Yeah, I
cleansers.
used to use chocolate root cleanser for like when I traveled and just like it just seemed that layer just always, man. Like
Okay.
sometimes like when I was younger, the body was a bit more sensitive, and so I'd be on planes or something, and I was just like, oh God, I just felt like my energy body was just gonna suffocate me because it just would get so compacted or congested. And so I used to just take a little bottle of chocolate root cleanser and like a alcohol base, like the liniment or body tonic. And I would go into the bathroom and just like shake it up and rub it on the body and then, come back out. And man, it always made me feel way better. And so, there I would do that. But after healings, I would just always rub it on my arm.
Okay, because that's so I just want to double check because I was playing with the idea of changing because I'm doing so many more healings, and today I played with that. I'm like, oh, this is okay.
And it really is kind of good to, the body tonic's good, but there is something to be said about scrubbing it with salt. Like it's just,
oh yeah, definitely.
Because when you're doing the energy stuff, it gets so impacted in the arm that the salt, or just anything where you put something on and there's a little bit of like friction, it will make it, the salt is good because the salt has cleansing energy, properties as well. But like sometimes if I didn't have that, I would take like a washcloth and like, just friction up the arm and then keep putting on chocolate root cleanser and it would clean it up. How like you're traveling and you don't have salt or something. It's like, and so that was like a kind of a way of doing it without, having the salt. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, I wanted to, and then for the body, I can use basically any one of the cleansers
Sure.
in
Oh, yeah.
addition to,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Rotate them through.
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I'm experimenting with these, but okay, for the hands, perfect.
Yeah.
Then, next one, if I wanted to spray for like immunity, other than the immune support,
Mhm.
I mean, unless that would be like the go-to, if I just want
That's a
something,
pretty
you know, to
strong
have,
one. Like that's very antiviral.
yeah,
The Time Supreme
right,
would be another one that's super antiviral as well. Then Panacea is pretty antiviral, but also like maybe a little stronger antibacterial. And then Armor is another one. But you know, are you just looking for like washing your hands or like what are you looking for?
no, so that's just for like, I don't know if there's a day that kind of feel a little bit off, or there's like working in an environment with a bunch of different people just for the immunity
Yeah.
properties.
So I would do
Um,
those, but the other thing I might do is Melissa or Monarda complex, like something like that. Like when you're around
yeah.
people like that.
Oh, so do Monardo complex even
Yeah,
as
I mean
well.
you could choose any of those. Like you could do Monarda complex, you could do Melissa, you know, immune support. You know, immune support works really good even if you just like kind of sprayed down the front of your face, like down your face and on your
Mhm.
chest. That's pretty good. Like
Yeah, and that's, yeah,
yeah.
and I have that.
Yeah.
And the green healer, would you use it for the immunity
Yeah, I
properties
mean
or not so much?
it would be helpful for that. I mean it might not make my top 5, but it might make my top 10. You know what I mean? Like it's
Okay.
got enough stuff in there that's antiviral, antibacterial that that could work, you know. Because you know, even the idea like that has a bunch of tea tree in it, and I can't remember eucalyptus and basil. I mean, all that stuff's
Mhm.
antibacterial.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
just even in the old days, like just using tea tree, I mean that's still pretty good. Like that's for
Mhm.
antibacterial, antiviral. You know, if you're looking for something to like wash your hands with, I'm like all of that would work, but one of the ones that's really good as an antimicrobial is lemon verbena. Or no, not lemon verbena, lemon myrtle. Lemon myrtle. It's one of the best to use like in like soaps and things as far as like its ability to you know kill viruses and bacteria like that with soap.
Oh, so like the,
Yeah, bay laurel would be probably bay laurel or eucalyptus radiata would be my second choices, but lemon
so then
myrtle.
doing that as a
Mhm.
antibacterial spray type of a thing.
Yeah, you could use it as like, but I would say for like the hands, like that. I wouldn't necessarily
Yeah,
do it to like pump up the immune system, but like you know,
no,
you're touching like a lot of doorknobs or a lot of things that other people are
yeah.
touching, and you know how you would do like waterless soap or what do they call it?
Hand sanitizer.
Antibacterial soap, yeah.
Hand
Yeah, hand
sanitizer.
sanitizer. I always call it waterless soap for some reason.
And
Like if you're doing it like that, like lemon verbena, you know, it's a nice, pleasant smell, but it's also one of the most antimicrobial. I keep saying verbena. It's lemon myrtle. It's lemon myrtle.
okay.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so I can do it as a spray. Because I mixed
Yeah.
my own hand sanitizer from a few
Right.
oils, but I didn't
Right,
even
right.
think of, because I need to use it
But this is
often.
what I would also say. Most oils have an antibacterial, antiviral property to them, no matter which oil you
Right.
use. You know, so like we're talking about, like they're all good, but if you're swinging for the fences, like the lemon myrtle would be the one that would be a choice, and then bay laurel or eucalyptus radiata. You know, the thing with like using something like immune support for like a hand thing is that, you know, it does have different forms of thyme in it and stuff. And so it might be a little much to be doing all the time on your
Yeah.
hands. But like as a
And
spray,
the
as an
scent is,
inhalation or a little something you put on
yeah.
your chest, perfect, you know.
Okay, thank you. And then the new blend, the Still Mind. So you talked about that before, your blend. what I'm wondering
Oh, the
about
one that's,
how do
yeah,
you,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so how okay, sorry, mental still. Okay, sorry. So how would you like understand the properties of that, understand what it does, why you have it? What I'm wondering about is how would you compare that to like Melissa?
They're a little bit
Like
different.
the
Melissa is very calming, is much more calming to like the emotions and gives you kind of a sense of peace and well-being. That what would we call it? Mental
Mental
steel. Yeah, mental steel. It just keeps it doesn't really have that like uplifting quality and things like Melissa does, or just that, like when you take Melissa, you're just like, I'm a better person. Like mental steel
Yes.
doesn't really do that. It just keeps your mind from like degenerating, like going to a weird place. Like how like sometimes when you're a little tired or you're a little you have a lot of deadlines, or you just got a lot of things on your plate, it starts to become easier just to go down the like rabbit hole.
Mhm.
It just keeps you from doing that. Basically, it just keeps the mind where I would say most likely it's because it reduces mental stress. Because part of like what makes you go and start having reaction is the mind will start stressing out, and then you just you reach a threshold, or things stop working as well. I mean, that's the thing with stress, is it always makes wherever you're feeling the stress not function as well. And so um it just seems to not let your mind go to that place where you start going down that downward spiral. Like, it just keeps your mind from
Mhm.
getting anxious or getting frustrated, or whatever it is. It's just it's very strengthening and like fortifying.
Mhm.
You
So
know,
then you would basically
where
use both of
Melissa,
them because
like
they
if
have
I had to
different purposes.
choose, I'd choose Melissa. Like, you know what I mean? If I was like, Melissa is so much more uplifting and brings me peace and everything. Like, that is more like just maintenance. Like, don't let me go off the rails. Like, that's kind of
Mhm.
the way that I think. Because
Okay.
many times, like for me, like I'm going from like bottling to maybe answering emails, and then I jump into some writing, then I might have a meeting. And so all that shifting and changing, sometimes like my brain has to process, okay, now where am I at now? And like I have to process information
Mhm.
quickly to jump into what I'm doing in the next phase. And if I'm feeling a little stressed or a little fatigued, I don't do that well, and I'll start getting frustrated really quickly. And so I just use that to keep me solid so I can hit all my deadlines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Melissa makes
And
me a better
then
person. Melissa totally makes me a better person. But the mental steel helps me to maintain my deadlines.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, we need both in our lives.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Blue Lotus tincture. Wait, yes, the Spedry, yes.
Mhm.
So this one you would do like before meditation, or like before going to sleep, right?
You could do before meditation,
All the
sleep,
time if you
or
want.
if you take a play out of my book, I'm doing it all the time. Like, I got up this morning and did a couple dropperfuls, and I was like, it's gonna be a good day. Uh I don't know, it just makes me feel like very, it makes me feel very chill. But the
Mhm.
thing, like, well, Lotus is it's about helping to develop the cognitive abilities to realize your nature, but it also makes you like more realizing like the nature of things around you. So I find that I don't know, it seems like when I'm doing it, I have more perspective, and I find that I interact with people a little bit differently.
Okay.
You know how like sometimes
And
when you're busy, you're like, okay, yeah, I've heard some of that information, and then you kind of are moving on. Like I sit and like really listen and like kind of process. It's not that I'm not listening before, but I listen to a much greater degree. And, you know, it might be the UPS man, but still there's like this different connection than what's there before or something. You know, usually we just say hi to each other
Yeah.
and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And so then would you, let's say I'm using it before meditation and
Mhm.
you know, you can do Blue Lotus on the crown, or so you would use that instead of using Blue Lotus topically? Or
Yeah, I would just take
okay.
the dropper.
Okay. Now, is there a limit on how many times a day you can do that?
I've done it, I think, up to 4 times a day, and I haven't really
Okay.
had yeah.
Okay. Now, so two more things now. When there's also the other product, which is the Blossoming Lotus spray. What does that's not Blue Lotus, right? Or is it?
No, that is Blue Lotus. It's just not the Spadry. And
Right. So
that
it's a
that was
spray.
meant for the same thing. Like you spray down
So
for
so same idea, just similar idea, just in a spray form.
right.
Right. Even though the Spadry might be stronger.
I would say the Spadry is stronger. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about the Spadry, something else for a second. So
Mhm.
one of the girls I'm working with, I mentioned her before, that's the surgery that ended up with, there's bipolar, there's asthma, there's trauma, there's sexual trauma, there's sleeping issues. It keeps kind of piling up. So one of the things she has going on is that sleep issues, and she usually takes some kind of a prescription thing that's been somewhat helpful.
Mhm.
She's familiar with Blue Lotus because she's a pranic healer, and
Mhm.
what I'm wondering about is, would the Spadry thing would be good for her to take internally? Like, would it be okay
Yeah.
with somebody that has bipolar and all these other
with
things?
all those things, yeah, it would
Yeah.
probably went down somewhat. I mean, the one that I would probably use for bipolar would be, and I don't think we have it on the site yet, but the Spadry for cystis. But the Blue Lotus would be good. The cystis would be good. And then you know, in the class from the weekend, there was a bottle that we were going to play with tomorrow night called Rhythms.
Yes, I want to ask you about that because that
Yeah.
connects
So
exactly to
that
what she
would
has
be
issues with.
because the thing with bipolar issues is there's rhythms off in their body.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you know how we go through and we do a thing where you go, okay, feel in your body, where do you feel something? Like have her do that, but then inhale the rhythms, and then also have her inhale it on the back of her head, like the back head. You know,
So
opposite
inhale. So
Ajna
it's
on the back head chakra.
okay. So
Yeah.
wait, and the first thing you said before the back head, what was the other thing?
Awareness on the body, and then inhale it
Okay, yeah.
is in the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the back head heavily impacts the rhythm.
Yes, I've been cleaning that.
Rhythms. Yeah, the rhythms in the
Yes.
body. Yeah.
Okay. And she mentioned specifically, she said she has issues with rhythms in the body. And I was like, oh, and I have a blend right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then, well, I have plenty
And
others.
like
Okay,
just to
let me.
give you a heads up, like Lotus can impact that, Helichrysum and Pepo, like those are things that impact that somewhat. And so even if you had to troubleshoot something with a single oil, you know, they all mugwort would be another one. So that's
Yeah.
why they're so effective for treating so many different things a lot of times is the like what it does to the rhythms of the body. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then somebody with arthritis. She's 49. She's thinking she has arthritis in her hip. I treated her for the hip before. I treated her for a car accident. The hip was there before the accident. So I'm wondering if like celery seed potentially internally, and
So
then
what's the
osteoarthritis.
What's the presenting symptoms?
Pain, and basically she has
Pain in the
so it's
socket,
pain, but
pain-
also she has hard time like moving it in like certain directions. I'm not sure if the pain is on the inside or the outside of the hip,
Okay,
but I'll check this week.
Yeah. because I'd be curious, is it radiating across like the front of the pelvis or down into the leg, or does it just hurt like deep in the socket? So right off the bat, I would say I would do I do one of two blends. I would do either joint relief or as an ointment, or I do that blend osteoarthritis as an ointment.
That's what I have in my note. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're both going to have antispasmodic properties, but part of the thing with arthritis is, there's deposits in the joint. There is, like you said, like the lactic acid flush, or like something with like flushing uric acid, something like that. I mean, that could be like the next phase, using something like ArthroCare, or maybe even the lactic acid flush. But that first phase is got to be like either joint relief or that osteoarthritis to really help decrease the spasms in that joint and increase blood flow to the joint, reduce any sort of inflammation. And so both they do it kind of through different mechanisms, but both would work. I mean, I've used them both in situations like this, and both are either one's a good choice. And so but it needs to be treated like daily, like with ointment, even like when it's feeling kind of good, still like every day treat it. And then after that, over a period of time, you'll start rotating in like ArthroCare or lactic acid flush, something like that, just to clean it up deeper. But at first, you just gotta increase blood flow both to and from the joint, increase lymphatic movement, and decrease spasms. Like that's just right off the bat. There's different kinds of things can happen with arthritis. The capsule can get inflamed. The bursa sacs can get irritated. They'll have like a thickening of the synovial fluid. It's more than just like the aches and the pains in that joint. So you want to start regulating all those aspects so that that joint starts functioning more properly. And it's really important to that the blood is getting into that joint to hydrate it, because the poorer the circulation in a joint, the more that the cartilage starts to break down. It doesn't have its own blood supply or nerve supply. So when it's not sufficient amount of blood around that area, the cartilage starts drying up, and that's when it starts breaking down at a much more accelerated rate. Yeah.
Okay.
I would
Thank you.
even,
Yeah.
One of the things you could even have them do is do some form of like maybe turmeric internally, turmeric with, frankincense, or, what do we call that one? Turmeric complex or something. Yeah.
That,
Something like that, or
yeah.
black
turmeric
cumin.
complex.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Is it just the regular oil?
It's
Or-
turmeric complex has like black pepper and
Yeah, and then the turmeric with gotu kola is the ointment we have.
right. So, but turmeric might not be a bad idea too. Like ginger, like
Yeah,
that could be another thing. Something that's gonna reduce inflammation in joints.
So that'll be really different than doing black cumin or doing
Yeah, black cumin would be another.
galban. Okay,
Black
or
cumin
like
could be another.
galbanum also. Okay.
Galbanum won't quite do the reduction of inflammation the way like black cumin or turmeric or things like that will do. That's more for pain threshold. And so it will
Okay.
reduce the pain if there's a lot of achiness and pain. But
Okay.
there's a lot of things with arthritis. One of the things too is you want to kind of push the body into a parasympathetic state, because the breaking down of that part of the body and the low grade pain starts to cause a disruption in the autonomic nervous system. So the tendency is the body starts staying in like sympathetic, which is fight flight, and has a harder time going into rest and repair. So then the body isn't repairing itself like it should. The
Mhm.
other thing that is always a thing to keep into account, I mean, so definitely topically, the joint relief or the osteoarthritis blend is an ointment on that, right? And then a little bit of black cumin or turmeric internally. But also Sylvester pine on the wrist will elevate the production of cortisone in the body. And that's usually good also in arthritic conditions. It takes the achiness out of the body.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then one last question. I have more, but I'll do only one more. This is a weird one, but I have to ask. So I have this situation going on in my apartment building for the longest time. I've been here for a while. It's worth it for me to stay. Management doesn't know what they're doing. And if there's one thing that I can be in my meditative state, but the one thing that really gets me out of that is the situations that I have going on here. So anywhere from a neighbor that's super disturbing, other issues that been going on. The apartment next to me, it's each time there's something else with this apartment. And I'm realizing it's really throwing me off, and I don't know, like I need to change the energy, but I'm too close to that to even know what to do.
So do you feel like contamination in your apartment, or just surrounded?
No, my apartment is great. I love my
Just
apartment is
surrounded by
fine,
it.
but everything around, like Saturday night, I couldn't sleep because there was a car alarm going off and nobody cared enough to take care of it. And
Mhm.
it's little things that it's like it's invading my space in a way. So I feel like I'm threatened in some way. I think that's what it triggers, which why I get so.
Do you have just tuberose?
No.
How about sacred blue? You have that with your kit, yeah?
Yeah, I have that. I have too many ones. Yeah.
Why don't you inhale the sacred blue, but do the 4 quadrants of the aura? Like at night, like as you're going to bed.
Okay.
Just put a little like soft blanket around you, basically.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It'll feel a little bit like a security blanket.
So it's basically my thing that I need to deal with things.
No, but like you're not going to make that car alarm go away, and you're not going, there's not things you're going to make go away. So the more you're kind of insulated, the more that you're not like being overstimulated by those things.
And is there any way that I can somehow clean the environment? It's all these
You can
things
use your
are happening.
Dorte and bless the area.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can always do that, but
Okay.
it's
But and I'll try
hard,
sacred blue
like
for
when you're in like close quarters with a lot of people, it's hard not to get overstimulated, or it's just hard,
And it's not even, and I think here it's like, things happen and it's fine. My issue is with how things are being handled, like not like somebody is not hearing me, like I'm
Right.
being ignored in a way, like people are not doing
Right.
their job. I get into this
Right.
all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since the
Fine, I'll
pandemic,
try.
don't you notice that all that kind of stuff got a little bit worse?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like
Yeah.
things don't
So,
get
okay,
taken care
fine,
of
I'll-
like they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll try sacred blue before I'm going to bed and kind of
Yeah. See if that just
Okay.
helps. Like when I'm
Okay.
traveling, I get a little too overstimulated. I do that, and I feel like I'm sleeping like a baby. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I'll try that. Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, this is just my 2 cents worth, but would doing something like the materialization breath, will like seeing like your space be like
You could try.
something?
Yeah, you could try. I usually find just wrap myself in that little blanket and I feel pretty good. You know, it doesn't last forever, but
will.
it's like, you know how like just sometimes it just gets too overstimulated. Like you just reach this threshold where you're like, I can only take it to here, you know, and that seems to work. It works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll experiment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Ralph, then Denise.
Hey, Mr. F.
Hey Greg, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm going to start off with having you talk to my daughter-in-law, Shelley. She's got a
Okay.
problem with her thumb,
Okay.
and she's somewhat familiar with oils, so you can't scare her off.
Okay. Good to know.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Shelley.
Hey, Sean.
I have this problem with my right hand,
Okay.
and it's been going on for quite some time, several months actually. And it's right where the thumb is, all the way down to the wrist bones. And it's that fat area where your thumb is.
Like
So-
this? Like in here?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have it, when I push on it, I just noticed today I have a really sore spot in there. And I have learned couple weeks ago that I do have arthritis in my hands,
Yeah.
and in my feet, the big toe, the little toe, and the thumbs and the pinkies. So, or all the fingers actually are really bad. But this one spot I notice it's spasms and just this achy pain, and it's
Okay.
swollen and kind of bluish colored. And so I'm wondering, and we've been Ralph's been putting some helichrysum on it,
Yeah.
as a body tonic spray.
Right.
And
How
we
did
were
that feel? How did
that it felt good. He put some on last night and it seemed to help a lot. And we've also been using a little bit of magnesium on it.
Perfect. Yeah.
And so it seemed to not like something today, and it shot a couple spasms at me.
Okay.
But then it calmed down, and it's done
Right.
it a couple times since. But I was wondering what the best thing you think
So-
would be for that.
I mean, the helichrysum is a good choice. Like, you know, because you're dealing with spasms and you're probably dealing with a little bit of like pain in the joint itself. Like in this, like, are you dealing with pain like right in there?
It's actually up higher and
Like
in
in
more
this
towards
joint?
the hand, down a little bit.
So
It's
it's
right in
just
the
in
fatty
the-
part, right in the fatty
there.
part. Yeah.
So you know, you could use like the helichrysum. You could also use something that's a little bit more, well, that's pretty antispasmodic, but you could also use like marjoram or something like that.
Marjoram.
But I would put it on that area, but I'd also put it on both sides of the forearm and then kind of rub the forearm. Because
Okay.
your issue is probably more in your forearm, but this is the tip of the iceberg. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And so, especially on the top part, you know, where you like here,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
I'd probably rub that real good, but I'd still get the inside and then get in. And like what I like to do is I take my finger like this and I lay it on that thumb, that fatty part right there. And
Okay.
then grab the thumb on this side, and then I'll kind of like pinch and like hold
Yeah.
about like 7-10 seconds.
Okay.
And then let it go, and then just kind of keep digging the side of your finger in there. Like rub it with the oil first, and
Uh-huh.
then like hold that for like 7-10 seconds, and
Okay.
it will because basically you're trying to reduce the spasm in there, and sometimes that area gets so wound up that even pushing on it or oil like
Mhm.
sometimes isn't enough. So you can get in and like rub it back and forth and then press it again and just like hold it until you really feel it starting to relax sometimes.
Okay.
And if you're having a hard time with your other hand, have somebody else do it. Like just
Okay.
like and it doesn't have to be crazy strong, but enough to where like you can feel it kind of jumping around, and then you just hold it. Like you don't keep increasing it, just like hold it and let those spasms like relax.
Kind of like a deep tissue therapy.
Yeah, kind of like
You know, how
if
they
you were
push
doing
on
it
it
on
and it relaxes finally.
right, exactly.
Okay.
But using like helichrysum or marjoram or like basil,
Basil. Okay.
terebinth, these
Okay.
are all things that
Terebinth.
Ralph probably has laid around, and you just make like a little ointment or a little lotion or something and just rub it in real good and then pinch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. I
You're so
appreciate it.
welcome. And if
Okay.
for some reason that doesn't work, let me know and we'll come up with a little bit stronger solution. But that should get it.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
But
All right.
get the forearm really good.
Okay. Both sides. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Thank you for your help. I
You're so
appreciate
welcome.
it. And I'll give you back to Ralph.
Hey, Greg,
Hey.
thank you. Thank you for checking in on that.
Oh my pleasure.
On my face where I've been putting myrrh on the open wounds,
Mhm.
it finally got to the point where I was getting like a white crusty
Yeah,
development
that's what you were
around.
saying. Like I can't remember what it was like over the weekend or something. I can't remember when you were saying that, but
Yeah, well, we had briefly mentioned that last Tuesday, but the end of this last week, I was getting that crusty white buildup around the eye, and it felt almost like snakeskin. That's how I would have classified it.
right.
So, and it goes really itchy. So I put a couple of mornings I put castor oil on it
Oh, nice.
to
Yeah.
loosen it up.
Sure.
Okay.
How did that go? How did that treat you?
That was putting the castor oil on it was very relieving.
Mhm.
So real happy about that. The wounds are being very red, agitated red, almost like they're infected red. Is that something I should be watching for? Something I need to be
I
aware of?
would watch just because, like, let's have you just like discontinue everything for a little bit and let's just watch to see what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, let's give it a few days or a week or something.
Okay.
But they're
All
like
right.
really bright red.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop the oils for a bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's just like let it have a breather for a little bit and let's just see what it does.
Okay. All righty. Good.
And I can't remember. Like, do you have issues with sweating? Like, are you not able to sweat, or you sweat very little?
Well, yeah, it has to be really warm, and I have to be moving a lot to sweat. So I'm not sweating easily anymore in my life like I used to. Nowadays, I really have to do something to get a sweat going.
Let's have you do like a little bit of helichrysum just on different parts of your body. Like
Okay.
let's try to, because like the more that the body doesn't sweat, the more that it becomes easier for the skin to get like like toxic. Like toxic's not the right word, but it's just it just can't get rid of the stuff the way that it should.
Like a helichrysum body tonic?
Yeah,
Or
perfect. No, that's perfect. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just like, put it on, just rub it in a little bit.
Mhm.
And visit your feet at some point with it. It doesn't have to be every time, but visit your feet with it and just, it's not just about the areas. Like, let's try to open up the skin in other areas and just see if that doesn't help.
Okay. All righty. Next piece, I went back when we did the auric and somatic program, you gave me a couple of stacks, and I've been doing those, rotating them through the week. And I wanted to check in on those and see if they're still
How have you been doing? How have you been feeling?
I think I've been doing better.
Okay.
It's like I've been watching several things going on in my life. I've changed the way that I'm eating, and so I'm feeling better. I'm not snacking nearly as much. I'm starting to lose a little bit of weight, a little bit every day. So, or overall, my energy's been much better. Stamina towards the end of the day, I'm still running myself, feeling very run down, but I'm going to order
Right.
the mental steel
Right, right.
and see how that does for,
Okay. Let me look at that for a sec here. I say we just keep on track.
Okay, keep
Like,
doing it.
let's check in with that, like maybe in about 2 weeks.
Okay,
I think let's just keep having you do what you're doing. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right. I'm going to order up some mental steel this week, and a friend of mine's going to bring it back down for me. In the meantime, if I'm doing mental steel, is there a particular pattern which makes it
Nope,
really
just put it
effective?
on your wrist. Yeah,
Okay, on wrist.
I love that one just because it's just like 3 or 4 drops on the wrist. I
Mhm.
sometimes I inhale it a couple of times, but call it
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Similar for Melissa. I've been doing Melissa and doing the 4 quadrants with it.
4 quadrants, and then maybe from time to time take a little bit internal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the Melissa Spadrick,
Mhm.
again, that's internal and on the
Yeah,
wrist.
that would just be completely on internal.
Okay,
Yeah,
internal.
yeah.
Okay, good deal. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Okay.
And then go ahead, Denise, then Troy.
Hey, Miss Denise.
Hi, Greg. Well, I'm way better than yesterday. That's all
Oh,
I can
good.
say.
Good,
Okay.
good.
I sent out SOS, and honestly, I don't think I've ever been in such a bad place that
Yeah,
there wasn't like a suicide or something. So that's how intense it was. And it
yeah.
stayed with me all day. And then all of a sudden it kind of broke.
Okay, good.
Might have been the prayers. I don't know. But I would prefer not to have to go back to that. I gotta tell
Yeah,
you.
no joke. Yeah.
Can you help me with anything to help with my nervous system? Like Melissa, you keep speaking about one that I'm not familiar with. Is it a lotion or a spray?
Or
Maybe this.
Melissa,
Badger.
oh, the spagyric. It's a tincture. It's something you take internal. And just like you're just wanting to kind of continue to like deal with like what you were doing yesterday and not going back.
Yes,
to
that
place.
was probably the
Yeah.
worst. Okay, but it can get, it's kind of getting a little bit intense right now. So I would like to hold steady where I can. How's that? And I have
Yeah.
moments that I really hold steady, but all of a sudden it seems like a day or so I can just hit the wall, and
Yeah.
then
Okay.
I don't have any energy at all. And usually I rest. That's usually the only thing that helps.
I would say things that push your body into parasympathetic activity. So marjoram, sage, tarragon, that vagal tone blend.
That one I'm not
Tuberose.
familiar
Like
with.
did you get some tubers? I can't remember. Did you get
I
tuberose?
have a little one, a very
Yeah.
little one.
So inhale the tuberose and inhale the tuberose like on like all sides of your neck. Like if you inhale it, because especially like on the sides of the neck, like if you can really work the sides of the neck and sometimes like underneath in here, it will help the body go into more of a parasympathetic state. It's like those nerves are like highly highly reactive when it comes to the vagus nerve. And so, just keep your attention on those areas and just really work the whole neck, front, sides, and back, and just, use your tuberose and just keep inhaling quite a bit. If you have some of those other oils like marjoram or sage or something, maybe take a little bit and just rub it on the sides of your neck and then do the tuberose around all the sides.
And you're right, my neck has been killing me. I used the
Yeah.
spikenard on it, and boy, that
Yeah.
cut it last night. I did, and I put it on just straight,
Yeah. If spikenard worked for you, like use spikenard. Spikenard's a great one to use.
It is, okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you said vagal, you said it was a
Vagal
tonic?
tone. Yeah. But like if you've got spikenard, work the spikenard.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then, could you just check on my thyroid? I've been doing the clove and bay laurel, just because of my teeth too.
Yeah, the thyroid still needs a bunch of work. Like, yeah, just keep taking it. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
just go, I guess we're with my nervous system right now,
Right, yeah,
and then,
yeah.
but
But
stay
keep taking the clove for the thyroid.
clove
Keep taking, yeah.
and the bay laurel from my mouth hygiene. And
Right, right.
thank you very much. I appreciate it. And
You're
thanks,
so
Sam,
welcome.
for coming up with the name I couldn't reach today.
And then go ahead, Troy, then Megan.
Hey.
Hey there. I broke my left foot pretty bad night before last.
Was it that same place that you injured before?
I think I broke. I think it was originally either the fourth or the fifth metatarsal, and it was like a
Right.
minor fracture, and I think I broke it pretty bad, and I think I got the next one also.
So
It's like
it
10
wasn't
times
like
more
you were just
painful than it was.
running. It wasn't like you were just running and it happened. Did
I was
something
walking
happen?
out. No, I walked out my back door and started going down the steps into the yard. And when I took a step down into the yard, I think I stepped on like a pebble or something. It was like not that big, but I just immediately heard like a snap and just screamed profanity. It was super intense, and
Wow.
I've been doing healing on it for the last like
Yeah. And
2
wait,
days.
so you got
and
this
it
X-ray?
has not gone down.
You got this X-rayed?
I was not able to get into the doctor today to get it x-rayed because I tried to do it as a workers' comp claim to finally file for that original time, but it had been more
Sure.
than 30 days. So they basically told me they couldn't see me. So now I have to go through red tape to figure out how to get that taken care of.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like so much more than the first time.
Yeah. I mean that happens. That like usually you see that like a fracture, but it would be like maybe only a couple weeks old, and then you step on it and then it continues to fracture or something. But boy, it could also be a little bit of a dislocation.
I mean, it feels like when I try to just like feel into it, it feels like the metatarsals. It just feels like that like outer left half of my foot is just broken in half.
Wow.
I can't put any weight on it at all.
Yeah, it might be broken. Okay, so black cumin and galbanum, how's your supplies there?
They're on their way.
Okay, so I would say, 3 drops of black cumin, like 3 to 4 times a day. And then you could do the galbanum a little bit internally, but you could also just wear it like on the wrist. But maybe the first day or two, take it internal too, like 2 or 3 drops a couple of times a day, and still wear some. And so that combination will reduce the pain and will reduce some of the swelling. I would probably put like helichrysum on it locally, like where the foot is injured. Do you have some helichrysum?
I'm ordering that right now too.
Okay. So if you don't have helichrysum, let's have you use like anything blue, like you have like German chamomile, yarrow, dark blue tansy, like anything like that.
I think I've got some blue healer maybe.
Yeah, blue, perfect. Blue healer. Just put some blue healer on that until the helichrysum gets there. Like
On
you
the
know,
bottom?
just kind of put like a few drops in and then just rub it into the area. That way you've got the black cumin and the galbanum internally. Like if you don't have black cumin right now and you're waiting for it, take like some, like if you have turmeric, if you have frankincense, start taking some of the frankincense or something internally. If you don't have that, ginger, do you have some ginger?
I'll look, but I don't think so.
Myrrh, do you have some myrrh?
No,
Um,
I'm kind of low. I just ordered some frankincense and myrrh
Okay.
that is on
Okay,
its
so
way.
you've got some stuff coming. So let's have you just work the blue healer for where it's at and just rub it into that area and be real liberal with it. Like just really it should take the sting out. And boy. Boy, left foot karma. Like I went through that where like I had a foot where like didn't matter what I did, I just seemed to like bang it on something, get it better, and then I'd injure it again.
It's always been my right.
Really?
Yeah, it's always been my right over the years. And then it's been like a good decade or so since I've had any serious accidents or injuries.
So
And I've gotten my left foot pretty good twice.
have you been wrapping your foot? Like wrap your foot with like a ace bandage or something.
I just got one.
Okay, perfect. And then elevate it, especially when you're resting, try elevating it. Ice it as much as you can, over the next couple of days. It just will help with pain and reducing the inflammation and yeah. And then I'll look at it again tonight. Yeah.
Okay. Also just ordered a bottle of marjoram not marjoram, Melissa. I didn't realize how much anger I had until I did this.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything else for that part? It's like very
Melissa's pretty magic when it comes to that. Like
Yeah.
Probably just like take it every day for a little bit and it should chill everything out. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the anger, it's not always about like past memories or past events. It's just like the body gets into this like agitated state and it will just get generated. A lot of times anger is like a hyper vigilant or a hyper reactive immune system. And so the Melissa will calm that down so that the anger or the lower emotions just don't get generated like they were. So it's a lot of times more physiological than psychological, but it just, soon as the anger is there, then we start to have an emotional response and a mental response. Then it becomes emotional, you know what I mean? But it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a bunch of stored up things that you have to address. It's just a lot of times you just have to calm down. Like they refer to it sometimes in certain circles as homeostatic emotion, which just means like homeostasis is out of whack and your body is producing an excessive amount. And so one of the best things for excessive amounts of emotion or anger or anything that is, even if it's based on some old experiences, Melissa just calms down all those like lower responses, like nobody's business. I mean, they use it in alchemy because of that. Like it's one of the things that they use in certain alchemical practices just because of what it does. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'll just be looking out for your owl with the Melissa. basis. All right. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Megan, then Marilyn.
Hey, Miss Megan.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
good. Just a vanity question today.
Yes.
I notice your skin is flawless. I've tried to
Mine?
do things to clean. Yeah, my
I,
skin.
apparently the camera is like hiding like whatever, but you
I've
know,
met you in person.
yeah, it's okay.
I also need Samantha's routine. I have, as I'm getting older, just more of these like these common like little brown spotty kind of things on my face. And I don't know, the internet says this is advanced glycation end products or something like that. I mean, some of them have been there a long time, and even with skin renewal, they're just still there. They're not
Right.
freckles, they're just like, I don't
Right,
know.
it's
I'm
like a
like,
little brown thing. Yeah. I would try doing lemon drops in like water every day. It's not going to happen fast, but the lemon drops in water, and I would from time to time, not at the same time, but like you could do them in the same day, is some peppermint in the water, and over a period of time that should diminish that. But I think there is a thing that I have people do topically. Let me just look that up. I know I have that somewhere. Let me look something up. Like I don't know where it's at, but I know I just saw that like in the last month or two.
okay.
And so let me look that up. There is something that you can put on it topically that diminishes it, and I just for the life of me don't remember what it is.
Okay. Is there any other suggestion that comes to mind for the face? Like I've tried helichrysum on my face and I didn't really see anything happen, but I just want
What are you
some
trying to
kinda-
deal with? Like, are you dry? Are you oily?
I just want to look younger. I don't know, just refreshed, more energized, more like I had a good night's rest. But even after I have a good night's rest, I don't feel like I look like I had a good night's rest.
You might want to try green myrtle.
Okay.
Green myrtle, it's used in cosmetics sometimes. It's very toning to the skin, and it has a bit of an anti-inflammatory effect,
Okay.
and it kind of is a little bit firming to some of those areas.
Okay.
So like the kind of the go-to things and like in general for cosmetics is helichrysum, green myrtle, and cistus are the three things that people will put in cosmetics a lot of times for the face.
Okay.
And
Can I
the
put green myrtle
cistus,
on heat or?
I would probably like maybe put it in like you could put in like a little aloe vera and put it on, or put it in like the soap that you might scrub your face with at night. Put like a couple
Okay.
drops and then rub it, and then really rub it in.
Okay.
That's what I would try. And,
Okay.
and then if I mean, I also have a green, I don't know that we have it on the site, but I also have a green myrtle hydrosol. And sometimes the hydrosol for the face is nice just because it's real gentle and you'll have an effect, but it's also kind of moisturizing at the same time. It doesn't really dry things out. And so that could be a very easy way to kind of tone things up and have things like, look better over a period of time.
Yeah.
So
And with cystis, would you also do that in the aloe vera or the face wash?
yeah, like I would just put a couple drops. Like I make my own like little aftershave, and I use a little bit of cystis, and then like after, I don't shave.
Okay, we're getting the secrets now. Keep
Yeah,
going.
like I just like kind of tap it on like that, and that's call it good.
That's it. That's all you do? That's it?
I use like it's a very traditional thing for aftershaves for men to use rum. Like you use rum and then you add the essential oil to it and then you just shake it up and use that as the traditionally they used to use rum with it's not bay laurel, it's the other kind of bay, like
Indian bay?
yeah, Indian bay. But it's part of that was just because of the rum and the bay were in the same location. Like Cistus is a better choice. But
Huh. So rum the beverage? What do you mean?
yeah, it's like yeah, I just buy cheap
Really?
rum and you know it's for men after they shave. Like you know, I would probably use something a little gentler for your skin. But I mean, you could throw it in a little alcohol and then just tap it on. But
Okay. So
uh,
like if I made like lemon essential oil body tonic with like witch hazel, is that fine or is water better?
for what oil?
The lemon essential
Oh,
oil?
I would take the lemon internal. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the
So
lemon and the
lemon is internal and
peppermint,
the
I would
peppermint
take
is
internal.
internal.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Because you're wanting to that'll clean up the skin, but also will have a cleansing effect on the liver. And most
Okay.
likely that those are like what they would call liver spots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's not something with the blood. Like if I did like a cleansing the blood technique, would that have
yeah.
any?
You could try that with healing, but even the lemon, that's what the lemon's doing, is it's cleaning up the blood. Even peppermint.
Okay.
Peppermint is a way to jumpstart the liver to start to detoxify. It's not the long-term strategy, but like when you want to like give it a little, you know, hit it with peppermint and then you keep following it up with, I mean, you can use like carrot seed and you could use like Greenland moss, but lemon is very inexpensive. It's very easy. You can take big dosages. I would just go with the lemon.
Yeah. Okay. And if
Yeah.
I just did some energy work on the liver, that might also
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're so welcome. But keep me posted.
Okay. I will send photos.
Okay.
And then go ahead, Marilyn, then Channing.
Hey, Marilyn.
Hi, Greg. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank
How
you.
are
Thank
those
you for
kids?
they're doing
How are-
good too.
Yeah, good.
Thank you for everything that you do for everybody.
Oh, you're very
Very
sweet.
appreciative of you. So I have this deep-seated issue inside of me.
Okay.
It seems really weird, but I get really, really jealous of this like 14-year-old little boy whenever he
Uh-huh.
hangs out with Servando. And it feels like it's like a deep wound. Like it triggers like weird feelings inside of me, almost like if like, and they're irrational. Like I feel like he's going to be like leaving me for this little boy, and like when they hang out, it feels like they're like lovers. It's really
Mhm.
weird. Like I feel like I'm crazy when I think about it or when I say it, but I don't want to feel like that anymore. I know that like the feeling is like I feel
So,
like a kook.
yeah, like so like around that age, like 14 or 15, did you have any like weird things happen like in high school or something?
Oh. Maybe now that you mention it,
Yeah, I bet it's more about
I
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
hope it's
So
that.
you know, because like the age is more of like probably a trigger than it is like something going on. So that like you know, one of the first things I would do is like look at, you know, there's anytime that there's a trauma that's like that hasn't been completely like processed, there still feels like a little bit of it is still happening. And you know, when you have that, there's like a lot of specifics there. I bet it was something to do like at that age that happened like to you, or you know what I mean? And it's like that's actually what's getting triggered.
Then do you think that it might have been at the age of 12 then? Because
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I've had it like it's been with this, and yeah, it feels so, yeah, it feels really weird. But my next question is like, is there some sort of oil or class that I could do to try
Yes.
to get rid of?
Well, let's start with just an oil. Like, let's see what you got. Do you have ginger lily?
I do.
So I would say let's have you like work with ginger lily, and you could do like, it doesn't have to be super structured like in a particular order, but I'd say go back and think about that time when you're about that age, and just like if like little weird things pop up, like little situations, little interactions with different people, just sit and observe it and just keep inhaling the oil, and then come back and then look at the time like right now. And like you said, like you see this and you get a little bit triggered, like the things that trigger you, sit and watch that and inhale the ginger lily as well. And so go back from now and then go back to the past, and then come back to now and go back to the past. And that should dissipate that. Like that really should dissipate it. And like when you're doing it, it's not so much like, oh, I'm trying to release this. Like sit with it and really just kind of almost like relax into it. Like you almost want to reduce the tendency to have like any sort of stimuli trigger you and go in the back and forth like that. And so the more that you just kind of sit with it and relax, and then go to the next, whatever the opposite is. So now and then back then, and then now and then back in. And so do that, and then do it a few times, and then let me know how that is. Send me an email or something and see how it's going. But I guarantee it's almost something like that's just a triggered thing from the past. It might be about an event, or it might just been like the social pressures at the time, or one of your friends was talking to somebody that you liked, or who knows.
Interesting. Okay, I will try that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. But keep me posted. If something's not getting better, you let me know.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
And then go ahead, Channing, then Lolly.
Hey, Miss Jen.
Hi.
Hey. How are you doing?
I think I'm okay. I am so glad that Troy brought up Melissa because it reminded me that I need to be taking Melissa, so maybe that's the answer.
Like I say this on a regular basis, almost daily. Melissa makes me a better person.
I completely forgot to take Melissa. So maybe that's what's been happening. I'm not sure, but so thank you for bringing that up. And then as the two of you were talking, I couldn't find my Melissa, so I started freaking out, and it was in my pocket the entire time.
We call that around here pulling a Greg.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So I have like oils everywhere, all over my house.
Yeah.
So Greg, I want to check in on something that I brought up over the weekend with you know who. It ebbed and flow, and so something is off, and I'm wondering if there's just something that's stuck in our home. And with all the things that I'm energetically kind of navigating in my work environment, as you know, I'm just wondering if it's just starting to kind of create some dense, stagnant, stuck energy in my home environment and might be impacting our relationship. Or if it's something else.
I don't think it's the environment. I think it's like a stage of the relationship. You know how like certain phases or stages, like like there's certain parameters in different stages of a relationship. And you know, I think sometimes when you get to that phase where like, okay, is this serious? How serious is this? What are we doing? What is this? Like you guys might be in that phase kind of. And so it's like it's not that it's unsettled, it's almost like not completely defined, like is the best way I could say it. Like undefined or not completely defined. And so
It seemed like we were more defined like 2 weeks ago then. So something happened.
but like when you start sinking into it like a deeper level, like even like what was there, like it shifts a little bit, you know what I mean? And so are you guys talking about getting more serious or less serious or anything like that going on, or?
No, less. The completely opposite of serious. And I think you're right. I think you're right about
It's a dynamic between the two of you. Like it's
I think
so
I
has
maybe
it,
paused it.
has it become less defined in a way,
Yes.
or?
Yes.
Mm. Do you think that's temporary, or you think that's like kind of what's happening?
That I don't know. I
I
really
think that
don't.
I think that's the issue right there. Is this temporary or is it?
I
You know,
don't know.
it's normal. Like you know, when I used to do therapy all the time, and two people would start dating and then things would be going okay, and then all of a sudden they start getting into weird fights. Like I'd always kind of joke with them, but it wasn't really a joke. I was like, you know why you guys are fighting? It's because you like each other. If you didn't like each other, you wouldn't be fighting. Like it's you know,
That is so
as
counterintuitive.
what's that? Yeah.
That is so
Well, but if you
counterintuitive.
think about it, like as you start to feel more love, the heart becomes activated. Anytime the heart becomes more activated, it releases things from the solar plexus. So old unresolved things start coming to the surface, and then the fights happen.
Oh my God.
That's I think like you're going through a phase where like you're sinking into something deeper. And so there's a natural, like the first reaction is like the hearts get bigger, but then unresolved things start coming up. And then, you know, how you handle it, or you go back and forth, or is there still a commitment? You know what I mean? Like all those things kind of start to come up, but it's really about processing those things from the past. Like you know, because it's not usually not just one person, it's both.
Mhm.
But you're going through like the old wounds and then trying to make something now work. And so, you know, even if it's that there's like a similar pattern to something in the past, but now you're with somebody where you could actually work it out with versus just reliving the same thing over and over again. And so there's the potential to work it out, but then, you know, not everybody's ready, and it takes two to be able to do that. And so if both people aren't ready, then sometimes it doesn't work as well. And so, but I would say that's probably what the issue is it's almost like, is this going to get more serious or is this going to get less serious? And then, you know, even if it feels like it's going one direction or the other, it's still like kind of teetering back and forth until like some actions get taken, you know, and so it could go either way. Yeah.
Me no likey this
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's like it's also, you know, you're dealing with deeper levels of being and feeling vulnerable, and you know, they eventually get to see those dark rooms that with the doors been closed for all those years, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I would say don't feel the need to like take like immediate action when things are coming up. You know, take your Melissa, use some like tuberose or ginger lily or lotus, something like that.
I've been using, I have actually been using the tuberose body tonic every day.
Yeah, isn't it
Like-
amazing? I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
And
it's
okay,
almost a
I'm
little
just gonna
addictive.
say this, I'm just gonna put this out there.
Uh-huh.
Ever since I started using the tuberose body tonic every day, which I received it a week ago,
Mhm.
shit's come up.
Yeah. I mean, it is activating to the heart.
Oh my God, like, so now I guess having that awareness, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So do I still continue to use tuberose?
I mean, I would like I
It
would.
stops coming up, Greg.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to take a break, I take a break. But I would say better to deal with those things now than 10 years from now, and then realizing like, oh, what have I done? You know what I mean? Like if it's an issue for, you know, one of you and stuff's coming up, better to work it out now rather than waiting 10 years and then not being able to work it out or you know. Yeah.
Well, if tuberose is bringing stuff up, and if I use Melissa to kind of just help temper the
Mhm.
lower emotions, is there like something else that I can take to just sweep whatever comes up?
Did you get the Blue Lotus Badric thing?
I have Blue Lotus. I have Lotus Blossom. No, I don't have that one.
Okay, use the blossoming lotus. Like take
Tincture?
yeah, take the tincture.
And what does that do again?
It
Sorry, I
will
wasn't paying attention to
it will
the,
help the cognitive functions of like realizing like your nature, but also the nature of the situation and nature of the people around you. It just basically gives you the cognitive abilities to break out of your stuff.
that's the Blue Lotus tincture, not the blossoming lotus tincture. Is that correct?
Blossoming lotus is just is Blue Lotus tincture. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So tuberose, body tonic.
There's a Spadric tincture that's like the tincture, the hydrosol, like the Spadric thing is something a little bit different. So that's an alchemical product. And so, but if you don't have that, use what you have.
I have blossoming lotus spray.
Just then spray it on your body, but a whole bunch.
After tuberose, right?
Before or after.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Got it. Anything else I should be using?
Take your Melissa.
Mhm.
Do you have some cistus?
Yes, I do. I
Why don't
love
you inhale
cistus.
some cistus and be putting some cistus on your wrists, like, you know, once a day or something.
Okay, what does that
Yeah.
do?
Again, activates the forehead, balances out the two sides of the brain, and
Mhm.
helps access things internally a little bit easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And one other thing I wanted to ask you about is
Mhm.
I don't I'm dragging my feet on getting one particular thing done for me that
Mhm.
I have to do, but it's just like every single time I think about doing it, I just don't know why I can't get myself to do it.
Is it stressful? Is it scary? Is it like, what is it?
See, that's the thing. It's
It's none of it.
I don't know. I don't know if it's, I have no idea why. first of all, it's not a choice. I have to do it. And I should have had it done, like I'm way past the deadline. This is not work related.
Okay.
But I just can't get myself to do it. And I already have like a checklist put together. I just can't go through the motions. I think that's the I don't know why. And I tried sitting with it. I've meditated on it. I've put it in my heart.
I would say there's probably a little bit of some sort of attachment there. And like, you know, attachment to an outcome or avoidance of something, or try taking, do you have Blue Mountain Sage?
I do.
Do Blue Mountain Sage, and then do like sit and contemplate it while you're inhaling the Blue Mountain Sage. And then do the pattern of sex chakra,
Mhm.
back heart, back throat, and crown. And then just keep looping that over and over and over again. Like that pattern will help, especially with the sage, but that pattern will help like detach from whatever is holding you back there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, you know, and it might not even have anything to do with the situation itself, but that situation might push a button from something from the past. So the attachment might not even be about now, it might be about some, you know, something back then, and still will work. You know,
Like
doesn't-
logically, it just doesn't make any sense. It's
Yeah,
it's
that's what
actually
makes me think it's an attachment of some sort. Like, you know,
it's
there's
actually in my best interest to get it done.
Sure.
And I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the person to help me do it. I just can't get it done. I have no idea where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do that pattern. Yeah.
All right. I will do that. Thanks so much.
And keep me posted. Keep me posted. If something's getting wonky, let me know.
I think it's already wonky, Greg.
Yeah. If it gets wonkier, let me know.
All right. Thank you so much.
So,
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Priya.
hey, Ollie.
Hello again. Let's talk about Melissa some more.
Hmm?
So if I'm looking at comparing for a second, the regular Melissa and the Spedring. So if I'm using the Spedring one, I'm taking, so it's one dropful, right? That would
A
be the
dropper
equivalent
full.
of
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
So a dropper full would be what, like a few drops? What's the equivalent
It like compared to just the essential oil.
to the regular one? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard of a comparison because it's got other things going on with it. And so you know, it's got very potent tincture, it's got hydrosol, and then it's consecrated and like worked in this alchemical and it's got the ash of Melissa. Like I burn it so that you get the mineral components of the Melissa. And so
It's mainly I just want to know,
I would say,
basically, if I'm
like,
taking,
you could do one or the other. Like you don't need to necessarily
Right.
do both. But like I'd say like a dropper full might feel like a couple drops of the oil, but they do feel a little different. But
yes, I noticed that.
yeah, but I would say you
Yes.
know, 2 or 3 drops of Melissa is like about a dropper full or two of that. You know, sometimes I
Okay,
hit 2 dropper fulls of the Melissa just because I want to be a nicer person. So.
Okay, I'll play with that. Yeah, no, it's one of my, I'm almost running out and I had to take it earlier and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
God, it's already on the way, so it's fine. So that was about that. And then the other thing, going back to the Blue Lotus Spedgery, when you're doing that, let's say before you're going to sleep, would you do it like an hour before? Would you do it just before bed? Does it make a difference?
Personally, like it wouldn't make a difference. I would do it an hour before just so you're in a really good headspace, like when you go to bed. Like, like not that you're in a bad headspace, but it's like it takes all the rough edges off. Like, you know what I mean? And like, what a way to go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works. Thank you. And then the last thing that you just talked about, doing the pattern for the attachment with the
Mhm.
Blue Mountain Sage.
Mhm.
So, and you
Any sage
mentioned
will
that
work. Blue Mountain's just the
that's
strongest for that. Yeah.
okay. So basically, if I needed to do that, it's gonna work with any type of sage. Is there anything? So, any type of sage would still be better than using like another oil, or is there another?
You could
I'm
probably
fine. I
do it
have
with
sage.
you could do it with aloes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to be fancy. Blue Mountain Sage is pretty fancy though, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't
like
have, but I
usually
have
I
the other
use
one. And
sage,
this.
but you could use
Mhm.
aloes as well.
Okay. And basically, so this pattern, you've used that for different things. You mentioned that. So basically, it'll be for different types of attachments. And based on the situation, you can kind of work with different oils depending on
Yeah.
what you're working with.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because even if I'm doing, I wasn't planning to ask that, but now that I am, because you mentioned that even for doing like some work with somebody who had some trauma before, that's something that
Sure.
can be sometimes
Yeah.
beneficial.
Do that with
Okay.
helichrysum. Like the attachment would be to the trauma itself, you know. Because
Okay.
if you notice, like after somebody gets traumatized, they keep telling the story over and over again. Part of it is they're
Mhm.
processing it, but the more that you can get that person to detach from the event, basically you're releasing the traumatic energy from that's stuck in that event. And so in that particular case, the attachment is the trauma that's still stuck in that event. And so sage would still help with that, but I'd use probably more like helichrysum for that. Helichrysum or ginger
Okay.
lily
So,
or astral projection.
okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm not asking anything new. I'm just going with stuff you already talked about.
Mhm.
When you talked to Troy about his foot, which, oh my God, it's so miserable.
Oh, I know.
So he did.
Poor guy. Like that
So
sounds like it sucks.
for him, so I think you mentioned for him helichrysum as well. And if you haven't, then you did. Okay. So you mentioned helichrysum like doing it topically.
Mhm.
Would you do it? So with something like that, would you do a pattern like that, or would you do it internally
No,
for
just put it on
trauma
top of them.
purposes?
Just top
Okay.
of them. Yeah. The internal,
Okay.
like
I was just
you're
wondering.
really like if there was a severe traumatic event, still like at first like you want to stabilize the body, and then afterwards, you know, if you are going to deal with any sort of traumatic energy and like an injury, it would be shock. So you would use like tarragon or benzoin, even rose.
Mhm.
But like I'd stabilize the body, and then after the body is stabilized, then I'd start working on the emotional part. But you could always, like if you diminish the shock after an event, a lot of times pain will diminish by half. And but you know, after a few days, so you know, then you're just trying to stabilize the body. And as soon as the body starts going into a healing place, right off the bat, like as soon as the body starts to heal or like the body stabilized, it starts calming the emotions and the mind, just that. And then it becomes easier to go through and release whatever needs to be released after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Priya, then Marilyn.
Hey, Priya.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good. I have a friend and I'm trying to help them overcome some obstacles. They're facing a bit of lack of clarity, disappointment.
Sure.
They're a little bit stuck in the past, struggling, fulfilling some goals. So I came up with a list of some protocols. But before implementing them, I wanted to run them past you and discuss with you if there is anything you think could be added into it or eliminated from the list that I've made, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, sure.
So I thought starting off with rue, just inhaling rue so that all the negative chords get a
Sure.
little bit disconnected, and then doing the mountain sage, the Pingala few times, and then the Ida few times, secondary throat few times and then the base head few times. That
Okay.
would just probably clear up the channels a little bit. Then I thought
Sure.
I'd use the purba, do some healing with the purba.
Mhm.
And after that, I've got lastly using basil for some clarity, doing the materialization breath, and then going through the ajna, solar plexus, front and back, basic, and crown.
So like I would say yes to all of that. The basil for the materialization breath, that could be helpful. But if they're having a hard time like moving forward, I probably would use I mean, basil is going to be good for stimulating cognitive function, so I see why you're going to that. Like that's actually not a bad idea, but it almost feels like they're lacking the momentum. You know what I mean? To like, ugh. And I would say maybe cinnamon. Like cinnamon might be a good one to start with, and then maybe follow that up with basil. Like the basil will be good for them to like work the details of the situation, but like it's like they need to be pushed a little bit to get the movement happening. And I think the cinnamon could be the ticket there. Like cinnamon or thyme. Like thyme would be another one. Even there was this blend from a long time ago that's called Liberation, and it's like cinnamon and savory and clove and lemon, and it helps people to like kind of step out of the box. I'd start with the cinnamon and see how that goes. That's probably all they need, but like do all the things that you said and just substitute cinnamon for the basil, and then maybe after they get up and going, then follow it up with the basil.
Yeah. And so with the cinnamon, we would do the materialization breath, but can I use the same, can I get them to do the same pattern, doing the ajna, the solar front and back, basic and the crown, or not needed, just the materialization breath is enough?
I would probably have them do the materialization breath, and then you know what you could have them do with the basil is awareness on the temples, and then have them do that after the materialization breath. That would be good.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Okay, good.
And then go ahead, Marilyn.
Hey, Marilyn.
Hello. Rose Complex. Could you tell me a little bit more about what that oil is and how to use it?
Yeah, so you can inhale it. If you even wanted to take a drop or two of it internally, you could, but it's all the different roses. And then it is, I want to say vetiver. I have to look it up. But it's basically for helping to, it's like it's very activating to the heart, but it's also, yeah, it's all the roses with a little bit of vetiver. So it's very strengthening and toning to like the homeostasis mechanism and grounding a person. You know, it's grounded, but like with a big heart.
Thank you.
Yeah. I take it you have it?
Yes, I just recently got it. I've been placing it on, I mixed it with a little bit of the jojoba oil, and I've been placing it on my skin, like perfume kind of. I was
Yeah, you could do that, a little bit on the heart. Another one is like on the wrists or the thumb webs, like right here. You put like a little drop with the jojoba and just like rub them together like that. That's quite nice as well.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. I have a couple more minutes.
Okay. Last week, we checked on an oil for physicalization of spiritual energy after meditation. Could we please find out today what would be best oil for decongestion after meditation?
Health rays would be good. Orange healer would be good. Helichrysum, sandalwood, Peru balsam. If the congestion's in the spine, the stagnation blend or the spine blend,
What would be the application for those?
and just inhaling them. Yeah, spasmophilia. Spasmophilia could be good. Like sometimes I like to use, like if I feel that it's a little bit of body restriction, I'll use either Impapo or Terabin. But I apply it topical, or I spray it on my body, or go take a salt bath with it. You know.
Just want to make sure I didn't miss any of your questions, guys. Thank you, Robert, so much for posting all those oils. There was a lot of suggestions today, so that's great. See, I think that might be it, and we're
Okay.
kind of right.
Yeah, we gotta jump over. So.
Yeah, so
Well, we're gonna jump over to the prayer, petition, blessing, and if you want a little quick blast, a little meditation, offer up a prayer and get blessed. Come and join us. It's just a couple of minutes away. We'll provide you with the link. And next week, instead of Tuesday night, we'll be on Monday night. We are traveling on Tuesday, so we won't be able to pull off Tuesday night. So next week it will be Monday night, and we'll remind you in the newsletter. So